Welcome to my channel, Clark the Realtor. Don't forget to subscribe and let's get started. All right, let's jump into this conversation about squatters and what's currently happening around the world in regards to this. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. And hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Devon Clark. I am a national licensed realtor. And so today we are going to get into squatters in regards to them taking over your property. I love to have this conversation because a lot of investors kind of go through the squatting situation, and even you as a homeowner, you could go through a squatting situation as well. I'm going to put on a video behind me, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about squatting in the state of Georgia. And if you guys want more information or want more videos around squatting, let me know below in the comments. And we're going to be real quick. We're going to jump in. We're going to jump out. I probably won't give all the details in regards to squatting per se, but we can keep videos going and we can keep information and conversation kind of flowing through these videos and this conversation. So let's jump right into it.
Southside investor found strangers in his home that he was fixing up to rent out. He asked them to leave, but that didn't go well. The people living there also had some choice words for CBS News' Lauren Victory.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Who are you paying rent to? Curses and confusion at this West Chesterfield home. Police showed up after we started asking the woman inside questions. She says she's leasing here, even though
from the title company, escrow, everything.
Kendall Nolling's got the paperwork to prove he's owned the house since 2020. Officers spoke with both sides and told the homeowner what he's been told.
So as you guys see, we are in the year 2023. This gentleman, he bought a home in 2020 in regards to, I believe, bought it in the sense of almost like as an investor, he wanted to buy, he bought the property to fix and flip it. And what happened is that somebody came by, they noticed that the property had been unoccupied, and they decided to basically take up shop, get inside the house and squat inside of it and say, it's my house now. So let's keep going.
Before,
unfortunately, Chicago, with the laws that's in place, Chicago police cannot do absolutely nothing. I have to go through the eviction process.
Police have to make a split-second decision.
eviction attorney Michael Sink explains why a stranger living inside a house that isn't theirs isn't automatically considered trespassing.
Oftentimes, the police will not take any action if the tenant comes there and thinks that they have a lease with somebody. The police don't know who's telling the truth.
A judge needs to decide. Nolan filed for eviction last week.
Unfortunately, if you have somebody who's taking possession of your property and has no right to be there, you still have to go to court.
He's seen an uptick in what he calls squatting cases, and he's not the only one.
So as you guys can see or you can hear in regards to squatting, squatters do have rights. Unfortunately, it kind of sucks that a squatter has a right to be able to take over your property that you might have bought, you might occupy, you might have went out of town for a couple of days, somebody might have came in and started squatting your property, or like I say, you bought it as an investment property, and what happened is that being that it was getting fixed up, someone came about and kind of went inside your property. So it kind of sucks that this happens very frequently. We are currently in a squatter epidemic, that's what I call it right now, which is happening all around the nation due to the high prices of homes and also renting. A lot of people cannot afford to do so. So a lot of people are squatting, unfortunately. And then you have people that are just regular squatters that just want to squat because they don't want to pay at all. So let's get back into the video.
After spending thousands on renovations, the homeowner's at a loss. He doesn't know how the people got in.
The screen door into the close at this point.
Or how else to get them out.
I feel great, I'm all right.
The whole family's upset.
I am so angry, but I will follow the law. But this stuff like this shouldn't happen in the United States of America.
The eviction attorney says squatters don't usually move into occupied homes. Anybody with vacant property should be a little bit more worried. He suggests checking in and checking in often. By the way, eviction court happens here at the Daily Center.
So let's just talk about squatters' rights. This particular situation happened in Illinois, Chicago. However, I'm currently in the state of Georgia. So let me tell you guys a little bit about Georgia when it comes to squatters. So we are going to read a little stuff from my phone. And if you guys don't know, this is a term that you'll learn today. You might already know it, but here we go. A squatter may be able to claim adverse possession of a property in Georgia as long as they meet certain requirements. If the person wants to claim actual possession, legal ownership of a unit, they need the following: 20 years of continuous possession of the property or 7 years with a color title. This is one way that someone might go about obtaining your property in regards to squatting. So typically what happens, and this is why I tell a lot of people, particularly investors, I tell them this all the time, and this is happening tremendously right now. I say, if you have a property and if you put it with a management company, make sure you put your property with a wonderful management company that continuously goes out and checks the homes frequently. If you're using a realtor to help you sell a property that is an investment property and there's no longer a tenant in the property, make sure you use a great realtor that is okay with checking in the property, that is okay with checking on the property every once a week. Because a squatter can move in, what they typically do, most squatters, they move in at night. They move in at night, they set up shop in the house. They don't make it that obvious at first that they're in the house. They go about and they try to get the lights turned on in their name. They try to get mail sent to the house and everything. And once all those things are kind of in motion and they might create a fake lease. And you can see in this situation, someone created a fake lease to say that they had actual permission to live in said property. Once all that is kind of created and those things are kind of already in their name, they can basically say, I'm a tenant of this property and that you have to go through the eviction process now. So, and most people are like, why do I have to go through the eviction process when this is my own house? They do not have rights to this house. I have ownership to this house, and this is my name on the title, on the deed. This is my property. But what happens, but people don't understand that nowadays so many people rent out single family homes. We don't know, well, the law per se, or the police, they don't know what type of contract had possibly been in place for that squatter to be in said property. So they have to go through an eviction process now, unfortunately, where you have to go to court. You have to file the eviction, which means they have to come out of their pocket with money, and you have to go through that whole process of evicting that particular person. And it all lies on the state you're in, the county that you're in, because in Georgia, the different counties, there's different situations in regards to how people, when they can be removed from the property after the eviction process, how long it'll take, different things like that. So it's different in every state. And like I said, as far as adverse possession, say a squatter decides that they want to squat in your home, just say, okay, this is what happens frequently actually. Someone passes away, right? They have a home in another state. Say your dad or your mom passes away. You're the child, you're in a whole other state. Your dad and your mom owns property in this other state. You say, okay, well, they passed away. You go there, you clean up the house per se, maybe one time, or maybe you just leave the stuff in the house. You don't go there. You continue to pay the taxes on the house. You do all this stuff because in order to keep it in good standing, you have to pay certain bills if there's a mortgage, X, Y, and Z. And however, you never go and you check on the property. In the meantime, someone comes, they know that the property has been vacant because people are always watching. I always tell people are watching everything you do. They come, they say, oh, this house has been empty for a long time, no one's here, and they take over the property. You then come, so they make it known to the community that they live in the property now. They get mail sent to the address, they put the lights on in their name. Everyone can obviously see there's no fight for them to get out the house. No law enforcement has been called for them to get out the house. They are now living in your house and trying to utilize that adverse possession law per se, right? And then, like I said, the state of Georgia, you have 20 years or 7 years with the color title. So 7 years is basically saying, and that 7 years, if no one comes and interrupts you living there, you can file as a squatter a color of title, and then that allows the court to actually give you said property and home ownership to that property. And then they are now the rightful owners. And say you come 7 years and a day later, and you're like, what are you doing to my property? You don't live here. Technically, by them following that particular color title in the court system, they do own the property now, and you have no rights to the property. And it could be very hard, if at all, that you get the property back. So those are different things you guys got to understand with squatters. How do I evict squatters? And we're going to go in the state of Georgia. How do we evict squatters? It says how to remove a squatter. If there is a squatter already living in your Georgia real estate property, then you must begin the legal principle form of an eviction, like we stated earlier. This means serving the tenant with an eviction notice to leave the property. You have to serve them that eviction to leave the property. So you just want to be aware. You just want to make sure that you do your due diligence. If you're an investor, make sure you have a great management company. If you're an out-of-state investor, make sure you have a great management company or a wonderful realtor. If you're in the process of trying to sell the property, if you're trying to do long-term hold on the property. As an investor, have a wonderful management company where no one occupies the space, to go over there and check on that space frequently to make sure no one is occupying the space. Because like I said, generally squatters move in at night. And so you want to make sure no one is occupying that space. And then if you are an investor out of state and you're trying to sell it, make sure you get a wonderful realtor that's on your side. If you're using a realtor to help you sell the property, that can continuously go over, check up on the property until it sells. And then also, if you live in the state that you have property in, go check on it yourself. Drive around there frequently. Go check on your own property. Make sure no one is occupying the space, all right? And if you have any questions or any comments, leave it below. If you've gone through something similar, leave it below. If you have anything that you can help the next person that's watching this video in order to understand the squatter's rights situation, or how to get a squatter out of a property in a certain state that you live in, please put that below as well, because that definitely will help people that might be currently going through this particular situation. And before we wrap it up, I'm going to tell you a little bit of story about my situation and why I touched on this squatter epidemic that's kind of going on right now. When I started in real estate, I started serving people in regards to rental properties and helping them get into rental properties. And so we would go and drive around to several rental properties. And what I noticed driving to these properties, we would get there, even though in our MLS system and also on these management companies' websites, it would say that the properties were available to tour, and it was available for people to basically put an application in. And we would get to these properties and there would be someone in the home. So someone had squatted in the home. We would go to the properties and we would realize that a window was busted open with a brick, and someone kind of made their way into the house. Even though people might be like, well, if they busted it with a brick, how is that technically squatting? Isn't that trespassing? And isn't that vandalism because they busted the window open with a brick? So it's different ways in which people was doing things in order to occupy the space. And then what also happened is that what's happening now a lot is that a lot of these management companies are using a company called Rently. And Rently allows you accessibility, or tenant services, or those particular companies. They allow you accessibility to virtually tour the house yourself, outside of using a realtor or utilizing a management company to kind of open up the property for you. And what happened is that a lot of people are going to these properties. They are using that virtual touring, that self-touring option, and they're going to the properties and they're staying in the property. So it doesn't look like anyone vandalized the property. They didn't bust the property open with the window with a brick. They basically let themselves in due to that company having that service where they allow you to self-tour. They're like, well, I come in, and then they remove the lock, that particular touring digital code or lock or whatever. They remove it off the door, or they reprogram the locks so you can't get into the property, and then they squat inside the property. So it's a lot of different things that are happening in regards to squatters, a lot of different tactics, but you want to make sure you're mindful. If you are an investor, like I said, even if you're a homeowner and you own and you're going out of town for a little bit, you want to be mindful. And so we're going to wrap it up right here in regards to the squatting epidemic. And we'll come back next time with another video, another scenario around squatting. And I have another story in regards to squatting and what one management company is doing in the city of Atlanta. Not only in Atlanta, throughout the different counties in the Georgia area, outside of Atlanta and inside Atlanta, what they're doing to try to prevent squatters from taking over the property. All right, so let's wrap it up right there. My name is Devon Clark. I'm a national licensed realtor. Remember, I do real estate as far as buying and selling in the state of Georgia. However, if you need a referral to any other state or city or country, just reach out to me and I can refer you to a licensed realtor in your area. And if you guys have any other questions or any comments, please remember to put it below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you back soon.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.